Me patcho, that was 3 days ago. Nyanti say former finance minister, Mr. Ken Ofori Atta, was arrested and detained by the U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement Unit. You know, or Makwache Papa. You know, Makwache Papa. We know. We were asking, say, on which ground na man kofoni jina so Makwache Papa we. Because now you say Papa, even though Ghana. Ghana STK ni extradition, but extradition is a better key process, and of which that was what we were made to know by the AG, the Office of the Attorney General. So we were expecting, say, even if say Papa be background and yet in many say sa editing, so we were actually your friend say interested in the your friend the course, and I said grounds are the eyes for the general some the channel and chakrana the lawyers for Mr. Ken Ofori Atta Piba Bontin because I'm betima confirming now. We may Piaba Bontin be confirm say, our client, a friend, Mr. Ken Ofori Atta, is being arrested and detained by ICE US. That is the US ICE. And they say, oh, okay. And they said, dear bad intina ma wa mo be cheno. Now, omukasim no mo chile say, Mr. Ken Ofori Atta echo seeking for adjustment of status. Send a bear. Ne visa validity no betima a extend no na wetima na US ho ache because omumu susu say ne doctor say he's going through recuperation tin ontina US ho no na say ne be ya ebeboa ma ne your friend saying ne sa ne recuperation process no be complete and say fine if that is the case even with that no kra no yentiase because say nipa ne of course of which are Manasa Zuri the can Pia Babonti Abekase, Mr. Ken Ofori Atta and the visa validity in expire next month 14th, which is 14th of February. And you're watching on the 6th of January, of which in Drew or so if say Nipaniso or Kwako apply for and answer will apply while making petition for adjustment of status not time Nindria, US Immigration and Custom Enforcement in ICE for no. Omuntimi say they anticipating say, oh, Mr. Ken Ofori Atta way visa validity in be end next month in chinchina ye ba befa and any possible of which and the lawyers in Beka say a normal of which are not the grounds the facts available no and supported to in some manner or more cano. So still no we were contemplating say ground to be pan a bema US for that is the US ICE for a former finance minister no. Nkofo be brave people bontin be chira o madwen na ene Dr. Dominica Krutinga Ayini, the AG of the Republic of Ghana, where Piaba Bontin Abichemu. So far, what church in some Sansam no Ebeconia could see, Benicassim no watch say, Sam Mr. Ken Ofori Atta, US visa no, it was revoked somewhere June of 2024. And a moment is placed on now in November. By November, no free ho. And I still papa that's what no and a ma or che papa we a former finance minister or more detaining yasisi and or mama within the space of 10 days or be appear before court in Tebusia. So the real cause in chair a ma a former finance minister Mr. Ken Ofori Atta or more detaining and yes now or extended for ne visa and as a menka say adjustment of ne status that is ne visa validity or extended no but rather no now or to ho illegally. He was an illegal, your friend is saying, your friend is a migrant. In Tebusia, Makasa Kakayanko Yunko in Sema, and I sent Chichimo, Dr. Dominica Krutinga Ayini, Edia Betuja, and a free and also called near me BCC, Nako Puncho Biano, now Yanakase, Yanko Yanko Tia, the uncommon better, so Mido Biase.
Free, yes. Responsible for Ofori Atta's predicaments in the US. He's been in ICE detention for how many days now? It must be a very terrible situation for him.
Well, okay, so you know that even from day one, I didn't make this public, but I started investigating Ofori Atta, all right? In fact, in his case, I'm doing it with, some foreign investigators that are tracking, all the offshore dealings and so on, all right? And then, of course, we are also doing our own investigations here. They are inconclusive as we speak. I mean, we have not, come to any conclusion. So
this is different from the SML.
It's different, totally different, and potentially mind blowing. But I that I will not, give any details at this point in time. So I started working with the Americans in respect of Ofori Atta long before OSP, came up with their announcement. Yeah. I started working with them. And I want Ghanaians to know that he just didn't overstay his visa. The visa was actually revoked. So it's not that Ofori Atta, overstayed. So in July, the American government revoked, the State Department revoked his visa, all right? And they gave him up to November 29th of 2024 to leave the United States, okay? He did not. And then that is how come that they, decided they were going to now pursue him, and arrest him. Actually, the arrest was supposed to occur on January 4th, and they did not do so. But on Tuesday, January 6th, they, apprehended him, in the Virginia area and took him into custody.
You're saying this is not exactly about immigration?
Yes, it's not exactly about immigration.
His visa is not actually. His visa is not expired. It expires in February.
It was revoked. The visa was revoked. I am telling you this on authority. All right. The last meeting that I had with the American authorities was just 3 days ago. His lawyers say here in Ghana say this is just a standard process. No, it's not. It's not a. I mean, they want to give it that. A twist. To make it look like there is nothing wrong. But of course, the extradition request that I sent was in respect of the OSP.
Yes, the SML matter.
Yes, but I have been working with the Americans diligently on him, and the visa was revoked, and that is how come that he lost his immigration status in the United States. Explain
to me, visa is revoked on account of you investigating him?
Something I wouldn't want to give any details because we speak with in confidence with the Americans, but this is something that I can publicly confirm that a visa was revoked.
So, in respect of his extradition, are your lawyers in America to assist the state as the Department of Justice? As we understand, there's supposed to be some 2 lawyers from your place, 2 lawyers from the OSP or so, to go and help the Americans who prosecute the case in American courts.
Normally, we don't send our lawyers. We are represented because we make the request to the American authorities. So just like here, when they make a request, my office, mostly led by, my deputy, Justice Srimsai, goes to court. My lawyers go to court, and they represent the interests of the United States of America.
That's right.
And they do all the arguments. And then when, they persuade the judge grants the extradition request, and then, we extradite the person. It is going to be the same. So you see, when I said that Mr. Ken Ofori Atta had hired top lawyers in America to argue his case for him, and that is not going to be an easy battle trying to bring him home. People thought that I was going to the United States to face his lawyers there, and I was afraid. I'm not afraid. Paul Adomochiri did a show here where he said a Stanford lawyer, and you are afraid of lawyers in America. I'm not afraid of them.
He's not the only one who was unhappy.
No, but nobody ought to be unhappy because John Ashcroft, the former attorney, general of the United States of America, all right, called me and said he was the one representing, Ken Ofori Atta in the matter. But his concerns, that the reason he called me was for me to assure him that when Ken is returned to Ghana, all right, he will get a fair trial. And I assured him of the fact that under this government, and in accordance with Article 19 of the Constitution, his right to a fair trial is guaranteed. No one is going to, Ken Ofori Atta is not he's not the person that will come here and we're going to treat him very shabbily and so on and so forth. He will be accorded due process of law. His fair trial rights will be guaranteed and so on. So I talked with John Ashcroft, but at the time, I could not, including the lawyer, the lawyer who granted the interview.
That's right.
So there were 3 of them, 3 lawyers who spoke to me via, a Zoom on that day when they were expressing concerns. Okay. So at that point in time, it was confidential. I could not mention John Ashcroft as his lawyer. All right. But I was simply saying that when you take the fact that he has these top lawyers coming to court in America to defend him, it is not going to be a day's work to bring him home.
That's obvious.
Because, you know, he will appear before, in this current matter, he will appear before an immigration judge. All right, on January 20th, he's appearing before an immigration judge.
Right.
He has a right to appeal that decision to a district court.
Right.
From the district court, he can go to a circuit court of appeals.
Yeah.
Then from there to the United States, Supreme Court. That is potentially the legal pathway to, the determination as to whether or not he should be taken from America.
Right.
If he doesn't self-deport, this is what is going to happen. In the extradition case, again, a district court will hear the proceedings and make a determination as to whether to extradite him. If he is not happy about that, he can go to a circuit court of appeal and to the United States of America.
Right.
So I was just laying out, the legal pathway that lies ahead of us,
and which could drag.
And that is part of the process of probity and accountability.
But why do you get a sick man's visa revoked? And as I understand, it was revoked in June.
No, in July.
In June or July?
July, I think.
Rather.
Yeah. It was
July.
July.
Well, he's sick. He's not well. That's what we are told. He needs to recuperate from treatment.
Do you
and so
recuperate only in America? You can recuperate here. There are people here with prostate cancer who are treating themselves. We have
overdone our time.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
We have overdone our time.
Yes.
But quick one. The CRC reports.
Yes.
Kwesi H. Prempeh's report.
Yeah.
You are not issuing a white paper?
We are working. No, we will not issue a white paper on that, but we will make known the government's position on the various recommendations.
You will be against MPs not being ministers? Because it's a busy place. You wish you were not MP so you can take care of the office.
Look, left to me, my personal opinion, I think a strict separation is a good thing. That is not to say that the hybrid system doesn't have its own benefits.
All right.
So we'll also, talk to the MPs, okay? And of course, people have forgotten that it is the MPs who must pass the law to disable themselves from becoming ministers.
That's right.
So definitely it's going to be something that we'll have to deal with. Maybe we should simply reduce the percentage. Instead of 50%, we'll say maybe 1/3 of cabinet. And cabinet is now going to be, and that is something we are accepting, cabinet is now going to be 57.
That's right.
So if you are 57, you have 1/3 of 57. Okay. That should be fine.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
30 seconds, what should we expect?
Well, you should expect a lot of work, a lot of output, and recoveries of funds into the public kitty.
Thank you very much.
Accountability. Public sector corruption was also a key part of our, campaign. And then, tied to that was the famous Aura. Which we'll be talking about very soon. Yeah, right. So the Operation Recover All Loot became so popular with Ghanaians that the president thought that, giving the Attorney General that mandate, having the energy minister or the Honorable, Jinapo, as part of the first, set of appointments, and the economy, was going to communicate to Ghanaians how central these three sectors were to his governance, in his second term. Right. And so it was so strategic, because we had to hit the road running. And if we had to hit the road running on all these fronts, it was these three that he wanted to start with.
Great. Economic transformation. A year on, inflation almost 24% at the time, has dropped to single digits, around 5%.
That is so.
The lowest since CPI rebase in 2021.
Yeah.
The currency has remained relatively stable. I have said I have my doubt if this is organic. And this has been consistent. There has been consistent supply of
foreign currency.
Power as well.
Right.
Despite the initial fears that there were going to be problems. Ghanaians appear generally satisfied. What has been the contribution of your office to the economic miracle, so to speak, that the broader public, is so satisfied with the government about?
Well, law does not have such a direct connection to the economic performance of the country, but its contribution will be indirect. So, for instance, our department is in charge of the drafting of legislation, and so we take instructions from the MDAs, including the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Ghana, to refashion the laws of the country in a manner that will inure to the benefit of the people of this country, or that will ensure that economic performance, is enhanced. And so, if you take the fiscal measures that have been introduced, all the bills were drafted by the Legislative Drafting Division, and then, of course, we always advise on how the bills can be structured in a manner that will inure to the benefit of the country. And so, our contribution is limited to fashioning the laws and advising on governmental transactions, that have an impact on the economy. And then, of course, there is also the other aspect of it, which is the fact that every ministry, department, and agency is very much aware that now there cannot be any waste or wastage.
Okay.
All right. That transactions that are, fraught with a lot of overpricing will be definitely vetted. So, for instance, if you bring a transaction to my office, okay, we used to just look at the dry legal, aspects of the transaction, whether it complies with the laws of Ghana, the Constitution, statutes in force, the case law, and so on. But currently, we have taken an interest in the economics of the contracts, that I brought to the office. So, for instance, I would not, approve a contractual transaction, for instance, that has any semblance to what happened in the drip case, where you had in excess of about 70%, inflation of prices. So we do check all of those aspects, and we advise the ministries, departments, and agencies that, this could be problematic for you going down the line. And in some cases, if there's a need for me to brief His Excellency about a transaction and my concerns, I go to him directly and I talk to him, and then he will call the minister or chief executive to order. So that is how, and he keeps. So the point is that we are avoiding waste.
Good.
And the finance minister keeps mentioning that all the time, to people at the finance ministry, and then sometimes in parliament, about the fact that
Abusami do bi biase fa comment comment section honum Dr. Akrutinga yini epia babontin abe church nsemu pi na so far your questions I asking yina no he has clarified and I say he has answered all those questions because now you can see you rely on nsema ne that is Mr. Ken Ofori Atta and the lawyer CP babontin beka say he was seeking for adjustment of status in Intino and a ma wo mo che ne dia I think say it wasn't and I say it did not sit well with understanding and all the facts available did not support in Semana or no air can. So I think say Mr. Ken Ofori Atta KCD, Dr. Dominica Akrutinga Ayini, the AG of the Republic of Ghana, Epia Babontin, abe justice to the issue. Na ninse muno yete say or kase if you Ken Ofori Atta lawyer craft friend no and or catch say fine or no client in the or kono abe obekono akwe defending no na Omoman assurance says Ken Ofori Atta Ghana. Ken Ofori Atta Ghana due process and after fair trial will prevail. And of course the agents who responded and say under the leadership and I said the governance of and make say of course the government and I said the governance of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. There is no way so far Ken Ofori Atta onya a fair trial and I said the due process on Manembra. Of which now, of course, just a man can say, because me did you see something from some of my Canada? Just a lawyer, no credit him say, Kiane also can Ofori Atta if free or honor. And I think that the lawyer knew, say, Ken Ofori Atta's visa was revoked. And internal course or Kwako defendants any beya or Bagana Kwana move follow due process, and he needed assurance. And the agents at the man. One who had in as a connebusia. Intina Memedia and Macan also for comment, I share comment section on. Intimuni said, just say, the lawyer's cry when he said, Kiane, I deal with dear. Now, Mr. Ken Ofori Atta, Well, untimi so blame ni kese. Untimi blame ni kese. Unim de ntia. Sometimes na I kase unni nipa ni shoes mu at times no be kan said ye. O be kan said ye maybe o se peno. Nenso maybe na ka wo ni shoes mu anka. Onto be yi bi. Of which one say which is say what take public your friend say office in kwade be willing to give be willing for accountability. In a kind napo Matthew Poku Prempen a kind was say one say what take a public position party, public office party, be willing say one day you'll be called to account for your stewardship. And that is it. So Mr. Ken Ofori Atta, one hour back Piba Bontin say of course Branana Oye finance minister no mka say na adinti na on resign and asa on continue fi o say ebe den na wa continue fi ne waja ma wo say na waja ye Ghanaians waja ye wa hanom na wa kwa bochire say on pese obeba kra bium na busia me de me comment any on so file comment share comment section ti bebi owo bia no I think say ye nyina e futu ma ye nyina one say we take public office in Kwande be willing say you will one day account for your stewardship. So whatever you do no ye ni say na be ya o china bi ye frewa onye hide and seek unwane so far say nyo no kwa ye onkofo bebre ye from omokoye na po mu nyina akọ ye friend sin yoku na po anka say ne pie bible ntem be ka say onu tabi okọ yoku okọ